Topping today's news, the United States identifies the Bahamas as a major drug transit country. Teachers concerned about the growing number of students unable to speak English. The Ministry of Transport believes it has found a solution to the taxi and livery drivers' dilemma at the airport and a plane crash in West End, Grand Bahama. This is your JCN Evening News. I'm Sandals. Thank you so much for joining us. The Bahamas has been listed by the United States Department as a major drug transit country. The list of more than 20 countries came out on Monday on the presidential determination on major drug transit or major illicit drug producing countries for the fiscal year 2026 and has been submitted to the U.S. Congress. The State Department article also lists Afghanistan, Belize, Bolivia, China, Colombia, Costa Rica, the Dominican Republic, Ecuador, El Salvador, Guatemala, Haiti, Honduras, India, Jamaica, Mexico, Nicaragua, Pakistan, Panama, Peru, and Venezuela, along with the Bahamas. During his nomination hearing last week, presidential candidate for the choice for the ambassador to the Bahamas, Herschel Walker, said stemming the flow of drugs through the Bahamas to the United States would be one of his priorities. The list comes a week after the Minister of National Security, Wayne Munroe, rejected the idea that the Bahamas is a major drug transshipment country. In a clampdown on drug trafficking from the Caribbean, the United States government has already blown up 2 boats in international waters that were allegedly carrying drugs to the United States from the Caribbean South American region, although no evidence was given in either case. The first incident, which occurred at the beginning of the month, killed 11 people on board a speedboat. The most recent incident took place on Monday and killed 3 people. Something that many Bahamians have warned about in the past is now coming to light. Public school teachers are reporting that there is a growing number of students entering the school system, the public school system, that speaks little or no English, which is hindering the learning process and fueling even more speculation of an immigration crisis. According to Belinda Wilson, president of the Bahamas Union of Teachers, the Ministry of Education has introduced a Creole buddy speaking system to help reduce that language barrier, something Ms. Wilson says she and her members have no clue about.
The Bahamas Union of Teachers and teachers throughout the Bahamas were in shock to have the Director of Education say that there is a buddy system for Creole-speaking students in the public school. We have zero knowledge of such a system. As I surveyed my members, yes, the teachers, they are unaware of a buddy system. The language barrier is a real challenge. There's a large number of non-English speaking students in schools and being enrolled into schools every day, mostly Creole speakers. Some of the Creole speaking siblings and or Creole speaking friends would try to assist some of the students from time to time, unofficially and voluntarily.
Wilson says the challenges goes beyond the language barrier. She explained other challenges teachers are facing as it relates to Creole-speaking students, mainly at the primary school level.
It is obvious that the Creole-speaking students, especially at the grade 1 level, did not attend preschool, and even the basic skill of being toilet trained is a challenge. Their lack of ability to speak English contributes to low reading, writing, and comprehension scores. Teachers have also noticed behavioral problems from the Creole-speaking students as well as the Bahamian students, but contributes the frustration of not being able to speak the English language as a contributor to their behavior.
Wilson is requesting the Director of Education provide the written Creole buddy system policy to the union, including which schools the system is officially operating in, when was the policy implemented, and who was consulted on that policy. Wilson said she has also sent a note to the Minister of Education, Glenys Hannah Martin, asking her for the government's plans to address what she describes as a, quote, very serious matter, end quote. In 2023, the Department of Inland Revenue, the DIR, announced that it discovered Sandals Emerald Bay Exuma owed the government more than $32 million in taxes and fees between 2017 and 2022, including $29.1 million in value-added tax and $1.6 million in business license fees. Sandals, however, vehemently denied the accusation, and the matter was taken to court, and the resort eventually closed its doors. Well, on Monday, the Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, Chester Cooper, who is also the Member of Parliament for the Exumas, said Sandals is getting ready to reopen its doors once again.
The terms are agreed. We anticipate signing agreement very soon. The reality is that Sandals had a dispute as it relates to their taxes with the government of Bahamas. That dispute has been substantially settled, and now it's a question of them moving forward with the actual signing of the agreement. All of the terms are already agreed, so we expect forward progress very soon.
At its peak, some 425 Bahamians were working at Sandals Emerald Bay Exuma, including 200 residents of Exuma. The Taxi Drivers Union has been complaining for several years now about what they say is unfair competition with livery drivers at the Lynden Pendley International Airport. They have even threatened to take industrial action, including blocking access to the airport and the Paradise Island bridges. Now, the Ministry of Transport says they have come up with a plan that will be implemented by the Nassau Airport Development Company, NAD. They say this plan will satisfy both the taxi and livery or the SUV drivers. The plan provides that livery or luxury vehicle drivers be relocated to the lanes opposite their current location to eliminate congestion, as they currently share the same lanes with taxis. The taxi service area will be made more visible with the addition of a dedicated taxi stand and a pillar painted in taxi colors. This will allow tourists to easily locate taxi services, and enhanced signage will also be introduced across the airport, ensuring arriving visitors they have a clear guidance of the transportation options that exist and the up-to-date taxi fares. And finally, in this segment, last week, Attorney General Ryan Pinder stopped short of pledging to remove attempted suicide from the penal code and classifying it as a crime, saying only that the government of the Bahamas would review the recommendations, as some people renewed calls for the reform on World Suicide Prevention Day, which was September 10th. Mr. Pinder was responding after Senator Darren Pickstock repeated his call for the change to be made. Pinder said Pickstock was not speaking for the government, but in his individual capacity. However, he said the government will perhaps take a look at what Senator Pickstock and others have been recommending. So far this year, there have been over 30 attempted suicides, that's on record, and 12 deaths by suicide. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back following these commercials.